Hello and welcome back to another video. This one is a continuation of the conflict between Iran and Israel, as this is something that took place in the Iranian capital city of Tehran. What happened is that the Palestinian Hamas political leader, went to Iran to appear at the inauguration of the new Iranian president. After that, during the night, the Israelis launched an airstrike, according to Hamas, that killed the leader of the Hamas movement, the political leader Ismail Haniyeh. What happened was that during the night, as he was sleeping, according to Hamas, it was an airstrike, but it has not been properly reported on exactly how it happened. But the Palestinian leader was killed in this place he was staying at during the strike. And from that, we see that the political leadership of Hamas has now been destroyed. He usually was living in Qatar. This is due to the negotiations that were taking place with Israel that he was leading. The fact that Israel has killed the leader of the negotiations of the side that they're currently fighting is a major issue politically, because that is a clear statement that they do not wish to negotiate. This has brought on international condemnation of the strike. Both Russia, China, and many countries across the world that are not Western countries have all condemned the strike, because it signals that Israel is willing to kill political leaders of Hamas and the Palestinian Authority, as well as their unwillingness to negotiate. Some of the statements include the Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman Nasser Kanani. Haniyeh's martyrdom in Tehran will strengthen the deep and unbreakable bond between Tehran, Palestine, and the resistance. The Qatari Foreign Ministry statement says Qatar strongly condemns the assassination of Dr. Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran and considers this a heinous crime and a dangerous escalation, as well as a major violation of international and humanitarian laws. The Deputy Russian Foreign Minister Mikhail Bogdanov says this is an absolutely unacceptable political murder and it will lead to further escalation of tensions. Mohammed Ali al Houthi, head of Yemen's Houthi Supreme Revolutionary Committee, says targeting Ismail Haniyeh is a heinous terrorist crime and a flagrant violation of laws and ideal values. The Malaysian Foreign Ministry says Malaysia unequivocally condemns all acts of violence, including targeted assassination, and urges all peace-loving nations to join in denouncing such acts. The Foreign Ministry spokesman of China, Lin Jian, said, "We firmly oppose and condemn any assassination and violent acts, and we are deeply concerned about the potential increase in regional instability due to this incident." Turkey has said Haniyeh's killing once again demonstrates that Israel's Netanyahu government has no intention of achieving peace. The region will face much larger conflicts if the international community does not take action to stop Israel. And finally, Israel themselves reacted to the strike, saying, "This is the right way to clean the world of this filth. No more imaginary peace surrender agreements, no more mercy," said Minister of Heritage Amichai Eliyahu. "The iron hand that will strike them is the one that will bring peace and a little comfort and strengthen our ability to live in peace with those who desire peace. Haniyeh's death makes the world a little better." It is clear based on all of these statements that what Israel did today is not something that is widely accepted or regarded as a positive thing in the international community. Even Australia reacted to the strike by saying this individual was central to the activities which occurred on October 7th, activities which have been consistently condemned, said Defense Minister Richard Marles. That said, we have consistently been advocating for a ceasefire in the Middle East to see an end to the catastrophe which is playing out. We definitely want to ensure that we do not see an escalation, he added, because the consequences of that would be profound. So what he is saying is that Australia, and likely the same stance for the rest of the Western countries, is to not condemn this strike, but to say it was justified due to the actions that took place on October 7th, but at the same time promoting peace negotiations, which is completely hypocritical based on the fact that this was the very person who was negotiating peace with Israel. And that is the one common message in all of these statements, and that is that this is a clear escalation and a step back from peace. And this is just following Netanyahu's visit to the United States. Following that visit, he has now pulled off 2 assassination attempts, one which succeeded and another which is still unclear, which was the second strike that took place in Lebanon in Beirut, which was the first time the Israelis struck the Lebanese capital since the start of conflict. So we see that the current situation is escalating, but at the same time, Iran has not yet said how they will respond. And this brings me back to the previous video I made on the topic, which was the time Israel struck back at Iran, which was a very weak strike. It was first confirmed by US officials. Only small drones, FPV drones, struck Iranian territory, which was practically terrible strikes. It has a non-effect. Iran claimed to have shut down 100% of those drones. Nothing was destroyed according to reports. Therefore, my opinion at the time, and this has just reiterated this opinion, is that this is a strike prior to a main strike. But rather than that being a strike prior to a main strike, it is the 5th point, which is this strike seems to be extremely small in scale. Either Israel is planning a second larger strike, or Israel is just launching a mini attack to avoid escalation. It turns out Israel was just holding back until they found a proper time to pull back or launch this counter-strike on Iran, and this was it. I believe that this is the response Israel had been waiting for to strike Iran back for its strike on Israeli territory. Danish analyst Benjamin Kirstein says that this attack is very symbolic, as it also says Israel has the capabilities to strike Iran, and not just strike Iran, but hit the leaders of the country. So this is also at the same time a threat towards Iran and the Iranian leadership. If they go to war with Israel, then they themselves are direct targets and they are in danger from the very seconds that they start a conflict. All of this points towards a major escalation, yet at the same time, Israel has claimed that it wants to avoid an escalation of the conflict, which is again very hypocritical, because who goes and says we will strike an opposition leader in a country that is supporting that opposition and not expecting any escalation? That is the same as Russia striking Zelensky in Washington. Imagine that. Imagine Russia striking Zelensky while he is in Washington and saying, we don't want any escalation, we don't want any war. This is simply a strike because that guy is a bad person, according to Russia. That is the same thing that has happened here, with the Hamas leader going to Iran and being struck there while meeting with the Iranian leadership is the exact same thing. That is why, to understand the implications and the significance of this strike, is to look at all the facts and compare it to other scenarios to get a proper understanding. This strike has very important implications to the international community, because one thing that the United States is standing for is the international rule-based order. The entire piece of the world is based on rules. This set of rules is upheld by the United Nations, and all countries of the world gather to talk and discuss international issues in the United Nations. Now it is becoming increasingly clear that the United States says some rules apply for some and not for others. And this just increases the diversification of the world order and the strength of different countries' politics and isolation of some countries based on these actions. Because no country can continuously treat people differently, treat countries differently, and expect them all to adhere to what they say. What I'm saying is that this multipolar world that we are currently entering is going to be one where every single country takes into account what happens and who gets punished for what and who does not get punished for what. All in all, we are in a very dangerous time. Anything can flare up and escalate, especially with how different countries take different decisions that are extremely dangerous, such as this one. And that is going to be all for this update. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and check out my Patreon for additional content. Thank you all for watching, and have a great day.